And we're going to deploy audit collection services into the environment for Global Mantics. We're going to use the Operations Manager server we've been using as the ACS collector. We'll use the same database server itself that we've been using as well. And then we'll enable auditing on DC1 and File 1. So to get started, I'm over on my Operations Manager server. We have to kick this process off from a management server. And you can see I'm on SCOM 12-1. I've also inserted the Operations Manager installation media into the DVD drive of this server. And under optional installations, one of the items you'll notice is Audit Collection Services, which I just tapped to begin the Audit Collection Services Collector Setup Wizard. So we'll simply click Next to proceed through the wizard. We're going to create a new database because we don't yet have an ACS database to work with. Next, we're asked for the name of a data source, and we're going to call this Ops Manager AC, and that's the default. The default's perfect for this. It just stands for Operations Manager Audit Collection. A data source is a way that Windows knows where to find a particular database when it needs to find it later on. Our remote database is going to be SCOM-SQL. That's what we've been using all along in this course. We're using the default instance, so we don't need to worry about providing an instance name for the database. That's only if you install multiple copies of SQL Server on the same server at once. And we'll keep the default database name of Operations Manager AC. Now, because we're running the same trusted domain as the database server, we're going to use Windows Authentication. If we were running outside a trusted domain or some other scenario, we could use SQL Server Authentication, but for our purposes, Windows Authentication is just dandy. I'm going to tell it to use SQL Server's default data and log file directories. I don't need to worry about providing those separately. We're going to let SQL Server manage that for us. Just like everything else in Operations Manager, there's ongoing maintenance that happens with the database. The Audit Collection Services performs the database cleanup, basically, or maintenance, every morning by default at 2 a.m., although you can change this time by clicking the drop-down and choosing a different time. Now, it's better to let databases do their cleanup in the middle of the night when things aren't quite as impacted as they would be during the day. So we'll change it to 3 a.m., and we'll keep the default of 14 days of events in the database. Bear in mind, Audit Collection Services is going to be a huge database in a large environment. The more data you keep, the huger that database will be. So 14 days as the default is a good start. We're going to use local timestamp format. You can also use universal coordinated time, but it's really 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Local timestamp matches everything else Global Mantics does, so we'll simply stick with that. And now, ACS is going to create everything we told it to do. Now, this process can actually take a bit of time. It's just asking me for a login to the SQL server, so I'm going to simply click OK. So we'll click Finish. So what's next? Next, we start the console. So we go to the Start menu and choose the Operations console. And this opens up a console that has probably become all too familiar. And we are interested in what we have at the monitoring area. So we're going to scroll down, and we're looking for Operations Manager, Agent Details, Agent Health State. Now, the two servers we're interested in are File 1 and DC1. We want to enable collection services on these servers. So I can use the Control key and multi-select those two servers. And then over here under Health Services Tasks, I want to enable audit collection. You're going to see those two servers appear at the top of the screen, and then I get this task parameters item. Now, we haven't seen this before, but this is a parameter that will be passed to the client when it enables the audit collection services. So it's important we get this right. So we're going to choose override, and we're going to tell it that the name of the server that we want to have these audit collection tasks submitted to is SCOM 12-1. That is the name of our collector server. And then we'll click Run. And then we'll wait for a couple of minutes, or maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and we'll see that this item was successful. So we have a successful return of the task to enable audit collection services for File 1 and DC1.